Hi, I'm Sarah. Today, I'm remaking my OC puppy. I made her around 2 years ago, and I've been wanting to give her a makeover almost the whole time. While I do think she was a perfectly good example of my skills at the time, I don't think she ever gave the impression of the character. Her eyes are rather small and not particularly cute, and both her dress and hair aren't great either. It's just not puppy. So, today I'm going to be fixing that. For Puppy, I decided to reuse the original doll. Her hair was easy to take off, and I figured if removing her paint caused any issues, she'd be covered up enough to hide my sins. Also, I don't have a spare Laguna lying around. And as much as her rounded eyes are going to cause issue, she's unfortunately my favorite face mode for this character. I fixed her up with a mixture of sanding, acetone, and a lot of time and patience. Her face was easy. Here's a picture. I promise it came off clean without issue. And please remember not to use too much acetone on the body as it can melt it. I actually only had this issue on the neck myself. Yeah, the one spot it would show. I started with a mostly fixed base and a very watered down acrylic paint. You can see I didn't bother to scrape off the old paint around the butt, but let's be honest, that's going to be covered up, so I wasn't so concerned about it. With the old paint job, I originally actually coloured the see-through arms with a white base coat, and you can see that I neglected that step this time. I kinda wish I had done it because it took a long time for the arms and hands to be properly coated. You start to notice more with the second coat that I couldn't get the paint off the old body entirely, and that's left this new paint job a little bumpy. The good news is I did expect this. Complete removal was going to be difficult, and I simply knew not to expect perfection. The face being able to take acetone better made it no concern, but the plastic and curves of the body were always going to make my cleanup imperfect. But additional good news, Puppy is again a character mostly covered by clothes, so a lot of these flaws won't be visible in the final doll. And while we're being honest, I was just plain lazy around the joints. If anything is going to be covered by her clothes, it's her joints. Thus, I was free of every doll maker's hell. Paint chipping on the joints. I mean, well, still going to happen, but we can't see it. We can lie. If your doll's going to be uncovered, please be more mindful and move your doll around to get around all the joints. Don't be lazy like me. It gets more obvious as we get to past those that I'm not experienced with a camera setup. I'm doing my best, I promise. I started working on basic cleaning in browns before worrying about blushing. I think as we get more comfortable working with pastels that I'll try to work more colours into my shading and highlighting. White people are a bit translucent, so adding lots of weak blues, greens and yellows as well as use of brown and red will create a much more interesting and realistic look. Oh man, I'm so good at staying on camera. So focused. Speaking of my talent in staying on camera, I missed the first step of the face stop. The very first step. Anyway, you can see I started with a lighter brown pencil for the ease of erasing. Useful tip? Always, pretty much. I haven't worked in a face in some time, so for me, it's absolutely a necessity. I was super nervous about the eye shape and eyelashes, but I'll say this is actually the best I've managed so far, so I'll let myself be happy about that. I'd still like to improve in the future though. I like putting blush really close to the eyes rather than on the cheeks, as you can see. I've never liked how it comes out when it's too close to the middle. It works for other people, but not me. Anyway, I promise to go nuts with the blush. Blush everywhere. Blush for everyone. Anyway, here's the blushing I promised. Dear Lord, was I nervous about her eyebrows. But much like her eyelashes, this is my best eyebrow so far. And unlike the eyelashes, I'm much happier with them. They're closer to my vision and far more like twins than my last doll. She happened. Let's just say that. always really nerve-wracking. Yeah, those are words. Anyway, it's always really nerve-wracking adding black. But it's also really satisfying seeing the details that you've been working on start to pop. It'd also be nice if I got a bit more on camera. I'm not fond of how rounded her eyes are, and I was right that it would make them difficult to work on. While these eyes are going to be roads above her last, I have to wonder if I would have an easier time adding details if I'd used a different doll. I'm not regretting using Lagoona. She's the correct doll for what I need, but I do have to wonder. Sorry for skipping an interesting part of making her eyes, but trust me, the footage was unusable. There's so much bad camera work here. You can already see how much there is, but you wouldn't believe how much more I've edited out. I just kinda wish it wasn't here too. For the hair today, I decided to try a new yarn. I couldn't get the correct yarn for another doll, so I bought it online and also purchased black to test out. We'll see my issues with it later. I made it the usual way of wrapping it around the stick, brushing it out, and, unseen here, straightening it with a hair straightener on low temperature. The sticks always end up as my pencils. I've never really had other appropriate objects nearby. With some more bad camera work, we'll see me adding new wefts to Puppy with the worst container of glue I've ever used. If you see it in stores, please don't buy it. The glue is fine, but the tip is small and easily clogged. I have to remove the entire lid every time. Tacky glue isn't the strongest or quickest walking for hair, but I like that I can remove it if I don't like it. I still want to improve my skills, so I like that this makes my hair removable without having the added step of making a wig. I often need to hold the hair in place for longer than I remember to, and I've caused myself too much trouble over this. For Poppy's half up, half down hair, I rocked in the back of her head and fringe before filling up the middle of her scalp. Her hair will bulk up too thickly if I fill the entire thing. This will make her ponytails far more manageable. Adding the baubles and cutting her fringe was done off camera due to me holding the doll far too close to my face to see what I was doing. It also took a very long time. It just would not have been fun to watch, let's be honest. I made the clothes very close to me in a manner not easy to film, so unfortunately for this video, we don't have footage of them. However, before we go into final photos, I'd at least like to talk through the process. I made this doll using a tights pattern from Requiem Arts Design, a short and jacket pattern from Delightful, and a video detailing how to make a pleated skirt from designs by Jude. I originally tried to make the tights on a sewing machine, but working with small materials on a sewing machine can be difficult, and it jammed multiple times. I gave up and tried my hand and hand sewing for the rest of the project. The tights are definitely the worst piece, but luckily they're partially hidden, so we don't have to remember how bad I did. For Poppy's skirt and top, I decided to combine them to reduce bulk. For me, this was the correct idea, and I recommend it if the option is available to you. I made a mock-up to test my idea first, which also gave my poor hand sewing skills time to freshen up before making the actual outfit. So here's our special guest, Eleanor. Please don't ask why her face and body are different colours. I promise it's the same paint. The shirt is mostly made to Delightful's pattern. I shortened it after it was sewn together since it gave me a clear image of how long it and the skirt needed to be. The skirt is, as I mentioned, made from using design by Jude's video. A channel I recommend. Honestly, it was a hugely informational video. This is the first pleated skirt I've ever made, and I'm really happy with it. She won't have a pattern for you, but she'll have all the maths, and man, pleated skirts are a lot of maths. After I made the skirt to the length I liked in the mock-up, I decided it was still too long and wanted to shorten it for the final piece. Anyway, here's the piece I made that was way too short. I had to make a third skirt for the project after this. It wasn't fun. Pleated skirts are very tedious to make. Poppy's lucky that she's cute. If pleated skirts weren't my favourite form of clothing out there, I don't think I would have done this for her. Now, the oversized jacket pattern is claimed on Delightful's page to be on the harder side of her patterns. I agree with this, so I left it to last. The good news is I didn't need pockets or ears, and I didn't bother lining the mock-up, so the first piece was fairly easy to make. I shortened the hem and sleeves by 2 and 3 centimeters, and after finishing it, I decided that I'd keep both the 2 centimeters for the final project. You can also see here that the jacket moves rather stiffly on Eleanor. This isn't an issue with Delightful's pattern skills. I actually just simplified the patterns by gluing down the hems. I use a quick and strong glue that works really well for this technique, but it will make the hem stiff. Not a problem for the bottom layer, as the skirt has, it helps the shape of the pleats, and the top's just too simple for it to matter. I decided for a odd solution for the final jacket. Wire. Thin jewelry wire in the hood and bottom hem to control the movement of the jacket. I can't even really get Eleanor's to sit down properly. It's just permanently stuck up now. But with wire, I fixed this issue completely. I also actually added lining to the body and hood of the jacket to hide most of my hobo seams. Well, most of them, I guess. The back is still completely exposed. Well, with the jacket done, we're done with the clothes. after a quick fix-up of her hair and shoes from the previous version of this project, everything's complete. That being said, let's move on to the final photos. Puppy's a character of mine that I love drawing, and if Years of Art Fight are to tell me anything, it's that other people also love drawing her. As such, I was really happy for my first doll to be of her. This video was an experiment to see if I could make it, and as much as I've enjoyed it, I do think I want to upgrade my setup. My brain has trouble telling where the edges of things are, so I need a camera setup to make up for that. I have to look at the doll directly and not through the camera, so it made it hard to place the camera where I needed it. I think my workstation was both too close and too far left, no matter what I did to try to avoid it. I think the next step would be a setup where I can place the camera higher. It'll be able to sit above me more appropriately, and I can edit to zoom in where it is needed. Fixing my lighting will be easier, since that's just getting a lighting rig that isn't broken like my current one. You may have noticed the lighting changing across the video from code to RAW. I should be able to control them with a button, but currently it does whatever it feels like. I may still use my phone as a camera for the next video, as I didn't hate the quality it produced, but everything else needs to change. So, I do hope you guys enjoyed this experience with me. It's the first time I've made a video in this format, so it was a new experience for me. I'm hugely happy with Puppy as well. I still want to improve in detailing her, especially the eyes, but I do think this doll actually looks like her now. It's not just seeing her wear her actual outfit. Her hair is better, her smile is better, her skin tone, eyebrows, and yeah, her eyes. Every piece of this doll was an improvement from the old, and I could not be happy about that. I don't think I'll get a third chance to remake her using the same doll, seeing the damage I did to her the first time. Maybe if she needs a little fixing in the future, I can get by only adjusting the face. It'll be much easier to clean. Once again, I'm happy you guys came along on this ride with me. I've been Sarah, and I hope to see you guys next time.